much of a shot do you give Deontay Wilder this time?
Well, Skip, he always has a shot because he can turn the lights out with one punch. And in the heavyweight division, that's kind of high. That's why people gravitate towards that, because one punch can end the fight. And Deontay Wilder has that kind of punching power. The question is, in the read, she read it, he's going to reinvent himself. Can he? I've seen a dozen of his fights, and they all the same way. He fights one style. That's what he knows. He's a puncher. He's not a boxer, he's a puncher, and he's looking to land that one big shot to get you out of there.
Yep.
The question is, can he? Fury is really, really smart. He's had an opportunity to see him twice. Fury is a boxer, and he's very skilled, and he knows the traps that Deontay Wilder is trying to lay for him, and he does a great job of staying away. Now, he did get caught in the first fight, but in the second fight, he dominated. At no point in time did you think, man, Deontay Wilder is winning this fight, or this fight is close, or Deontay Wilder can win it. Yeah, we know he can turn the lights out with one punch, but the way Fury was making him look, it was almost like, man, why are you even winning? How did they even make this fight happen? I mean, because it's like he was just toying with him.
Yep.
And so to reinvent himself, can he reinvent himself after he's had so much success doing it that way? Skip, look, I think the only way that Deontay Wilder can win this fight is that he knocks him out. I don't believe he's skilled enough as a boxer to go 12 rounds and outpoint Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury can win this fight in a multitude of ways because he's the more skilled of the fighters. Yes, he can win by points. Yes, he can knock him out. We just saw it the last time they fought. So for me, Skip, I'm not as confident in Fury as I once was, because once I heard he was going to come in the ring at damn near 300 pounds, at some point in time, rounds 5, 6, 7, if Wilder can get it to the deeper rounds, stamina is going to have to play a role in that. Yeah, you're bigger, stronger, but you got to carry that weight around for 3 minutes in those rounds. So it's not like all of a sudden you 200, 300 pounds and that's not going to be a factor, because I do believe it will be a factor. The question is, can Deontay Wilder box him long enough to get it to those later rounds so he can land that power shot and turn the light out on Fury?
All right.
I don't believe he can. I'm gonna say Fury wins in a decision.
Are you?
I am.
Okay, a decision, just
points.
Okay, I know, but just will he win easily like he?
No, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be as easily as he won last time, Skip. Because, like I said, an extra 20 pounds. That's got to play some role. He can't be as quick. He can't, because his stamina was impeccable last time around. So I think it goes. I think that's the only way. That's the only way he can win the fight, by knocking Wilder out. He can win the fight by points. I think Wilder's only chance is to catch him with something in the later rounds.
But you're making the case that Tyson Fury will again win fairly easily. Right?
I think, not as easily as he won the first time. Not as easy, but I do think, because he's the more skilled of the fighters, he can win a multitude. He can be a chameleon. He can do a lot of different things, where I think Deontay Wilder is relegated to this lane right here, which is land that one big shot.
Okay. I got you. My turn. I'm going to preface everything I'm about to say by making the point that I think our longtime viewers will appreciate. I have always been my own man. I am not a company man. This fight is obviously a Fox production.
Right.
Everything I'm about to say has nothing to do with this being a Fox production.
Okay.
It has to do with my gut instinct on this fight.
Uh-oh.
I believe Wilder is going to get his revenge.
Whoa, wow.
I believe it because I believe Wilder is at the rightest place at the rightest time.
Okay.
It reminds me a little bit of the sequence that we just saw in the National Football League, in which we saw the Los Angeles Rams be in the perfect spot, the right place at the right time to take advantage of the Buccaneers, the defending champs, whose minds and hearts were already going to Foxborough for the following Sunday night. And then we saw the Arizona Cardinals be at the rightest place at the rightest time, because they caught the Rams at home after the Rams had won their Super Bowl against the defending champ Buccaneers.
Okay.
It just matters about your mental state at that moment.
At the time that you're fighting,
It is so much mental. This is mano a mano, but it's mind versus mind. And all of a sudden, I'm reading the tea leaves on Tyson Fury, and I don't love his mental state at this point, because let's step back and look at it. He did not want this fight.
Right. So you don't believe he took the fight serious?
Well, he can't, because he's high IQ, obviously, because he is a highly skilled, huge boxer.
Yes.
At 6'9", now going on 300 pounds. And obviously, the last time we saw these two, Tyson Fury was clearly the bigger and better boxer.
Right.
It was as simple as that. He was way too big and way too skilled for a Deontay Wilder, who's not a small man. He's 6 feet 7 inches tall.
Right.
He weighed 231 for the last fight.
Right.
I assume he's going to be in that ballpark
pretty
for
close
this
to that
one,
thing,
right?
Yep.
Okay, but he is what he is, and
Right.
he's not going to change,
Right.
to your point. He's going to be exactly what he was in the first two fights. So all of a sudden I say, well, Tyson Fury didn't want this fight to the point it had to go to the arbitrator.
Right.
And the arbitrator finally said, I'm sorry, the contractual language here says you have no choice.
Right.
You have to give
Right.
him. If he elects, which he did,
Right.
Deontay Wilder said, I want the third fight.
Correct.
You have to fight him. Well, what was his mind and eye and heart on? It was on Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, he wanted to fight AJ.
Okay, and on September the 25th at the Tottenham Spurs Stadium in London, what happened?
He got beat.
Alexander, Usyk, he came out of nowhere, although he is really good and he's undefeated.
Yep.
And he caught him at the right place at the right time when obviously Anthony Joshua's head, heart, mind,
Looking at Fury.
they were going at Fury because it was going to be the biggest money, most epic fight
Right.
in the history of that country.
Right.
Countryman versus countryman.
Correct.
And you said the other day it'd be in Wembley Stadium. It'd be where all the biggest concerts are, all the biggest soccer matches. It's it.
Yes.
It would have been it.
That's it.
It could arguably have been the biggest sporting event in the history of England, right? And all of a sudden the bottom falls out because Joshua didn't just lose. He just got absolutely dominated
Right.
from start to finish
Yes.
by Usyk.
Right.
So it's like, how can you sell it now? Well, you can still sell it, but not the way you could.
No, no.
It won't be epic anymore, right?
Yeah, because Joshua ain't got no belts.
Okay, he's got no belts. Okay, so now what's happened to Tyson Fury? Well, he's had COVID twice. And the second bout, cost him this fight for a while because it pushed it back 3 months until tomorrow night.
Right, tomorrow night.
And now we have the trainer suddenly saying, no big deal, the bigger the better. So what if we're going to come in 20 pounds heavier? 20 pounds?
Yeah.
it's a ton of weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about it the other day. Just try carrying around 20 pounds for a while. Strap 20 pounds around your midsection and go for a little trot somewhere and see how long you can trot with 20 extra pounds on you. Boxing is hard. It is the most grueling sport to me of all. I don't know if you boxed some. I boxed in high school. And I thought after 2 rounds, my arms were going to fall off.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it feels like. And when your arms get tired, what do you want to do, Skip? You want to drop them. And when you drop them, what happens? All this is exposed and somebody put a glove upside it.
Okay, what else do we know about Tyson Fury? In his past, he's had issues with depression. He had issues with addiction. He had issues that bordered on suicidal.
Correct.
And he had to come back from being a fat man. He was a fat man. He was way over 300 pounds.
Way over, yeah.
And he got himself right.
Right.
And the skill was never questioned.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
All of a sudden, if you roller coaster your weight from all the way down to the 270-ish range, and then all of a sudden now you're going all the way back up to the 290-ish range, we'll see exactly what it is.
Right.
But it could approach 300.
Correct.
And then you made a great point yesterday. Okay, so he makes the weigh-in at 290, and then what happens? Well, he's like, man, I kind of had to cut some weight so I wouldn't look so bad at the weigh-in.
You're going to have to cut weight to be in the 290-ish.
Right, and you don't have to cut it because they're heavyweights, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, it matters to your pride and your appearance, right?
Correct.
And then, knowing Tyson Fury, he might just say, okay, enough is enough. I got to go eat, right? I got to go have
you're going to have to eat,
I'm going to have me a big old meal.
Yeah.
So he might show up at fight time closer to, who knows, I don't know, 3:05.
Yeah, he's going to be 3 easy.
Okay, we'll say 3 easy. All this is shaping up as advantage Wilder, advantage Wilder, advantage Wilder, because Tyson Fury doesn't even want to do this. Look, he's been here and done this before.
Right.
And let's look hard at the two fights. This is the trilogy fight, but it doesn't even feel right to call it a trilogy fight because, okay, so Wilder won the first bout on a split draw.
Right.
But I watched the fight, and I know what my eye test told me, that Tyson Fury was just better.
Right.
But it was a split draw, and it happened because they got to the final round, and finally Deontay caught him.
Correct.
And rocked him and dropped him.
Yes.
Right? And then what happened? Shockingly, Tyson Fury raised himself from the dead, didn't he? He just suddenly got up. And not only did he get up from looking like he was knocked out,
Right.
but he actually fought to the finish.
He did.
And made it look like he was just fine. In fact, he sort of took the fight back over.
He did.
But up to that point, it looked to my eye like he was winning fairly easily. So the cards were, one judge gave it to Wilder 115 to 111, then the other judge gave it 114 to 112 to Tyson Fury, and then there was a 113 all judge. So it's a split draw.
Correct.
Well, what's your eye test tell you about the first fight? Tyson Fury was just better.
Right.
Right? What'd your eye test tell you about the second fight? It wasn't even close. You used the word toyed with.
Yes.
He did. So I don't love the way Wilder made excuses about the first fight. He fired the great Mark Breland for throwing in the towel.
Yeah, called him a traitor.
Yeah, called him a traitor.
Said the man had loaded gloves.
Loaded gloves with some kind of metal in his glove or brass knucks underneath. And yet his own man, who's still employed in his corner, was the man who went over the gloves.
That's what you do. You watch the man's hands get taped.
And he's still there, so I don't know how that happened. And then he even took a shot at my distant cousin, Kenny Bayless, who was the referee that night. He took a shot. Deontay Wilder took a shot at him and said he was pro-Fury. Okay, so he's made every excuse in the book, which I do not love.
I don't like it either.
But I do love one thing about Deontay Wilder. He has extreme pride attached to extreme knockout power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he got shamed because the world just said, you don't even belong in the same ring with him. And it hurt his pride so badly. I think that hurt worse than the beating you took in the ring.
Yeah, because, Skip, if you look at it, he got started at it late. He didn't have the amateur background that a Fury had. He's not the skilled technician that Fury is. Yeah. But you believe that the COVID bouts maybe had something to do with his training, and he wasn't able to train like he wanted to. And so that was the excess weight. And that's the excuse that's like, well, we wanted him to be bigger. Yeah. Well, in actuality, you weren't able to train like you wanted to with COVID, and so the excess weight came from lack of training, not because something that you wanted to occur. Because if I had great success doing it like this, there's no way. I've never heard this before. A fighter knocks a fighter out at a weight, and then he comes back in 20 pounds heavier than the weight that he looked so convincingly in beating the other guy.
And the first weight was 270.
Yes.
Huh? 273 to be exact. 273.
Right. And everybody said how great he looked. I'm listening to everybody say, we've never seen him look like this. He's in tremendous shape.
Okay.
And from that, you like, yeah, but you know what? I feel like 290, 295 would be even better.
Okay, and you've watched and listened to people who have trouble with their weight over time.
Yes.
You know, kind of once a fat man, you have to keep fighting the fat man inside you. You got to fight it. You fight it. And maybe he gave in a little bit to it.
Right.
Maybe it shook him up that there's no Joshua right on the near horizon. Right. COVID. I got to go do this. I got to go fight this guy again. And I beat him twice effectively.
You don't get that big without eating. People say, well, elephant don't eat anything but grass. Yeah, but he eats 600 pounds of it a day. That's why he's so big. Hippos, they eat 300 pounds a day. Rhinoceros, 150 pounds a day. That's why they're big. They only eat grass. Yeah, but you eating 600 pounds of it. When you be that size, Skip, you got to eat a lot of food.
Yep.
And it's like you said, when you have a problem with weight, it's just like having a problem with drugs and alcohol every single day. Because that one day you might, instead of eating the 3,000 calories you're supposed to eat, you eat 10,000. And here we go again. You got to start the cycle all over again. Food is an addiction also.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, I mean,
in fact, to me, it's the worst addiction.
Yeah.
It's the hardest because you can't live without it. So how do you live with just this much of it?
Exactly.
Well, why can't I have more? And then once you have any psychological issues, what is your desire? You want to comfort.
Exactly. So whatever the issues are, you figure food can solve that problem. Yeah. And then here we go again. But Skip, like I said, I don't feel as comfortable with Fury in this fight as I felt the last fight, because like I said, in the last fight, I was like, after watching the first fight, I was like, well, damn, unless Wilder lands that big power shot, he can't be. And the thing is, Fury does everything to neutralize that. He know you trying to lay that trap. He know you trying to spring that right hand on him, and he just puts the jab in your face, boxing around, wheels around him, and he's where he thinks he is, he's not there. For a big man, he's skilled. I don't know if we'll see a big man that size be able to move like he can move. Skip, that he 6'9" is that's LeBron James.
Yes.
That's LeBron James. I mean, 6'9".
Yep.
And Wilder is more like a small forward. He's 6'7", 230, so he's a small forward. Okay. Even LeBron is big. LeBron James outweighs Deontay Wilder by 20 pounds.
Maybe 30. But no, he's slimmed up. As Blink said,
so he might be 15 pounds. Yeah.
Okay, so how I see it have to unfold if Wilder's going to pull off what would be seen as a huge upset. He has to catch him once early. I'm going to say round 2.
Right.
And it has to be because Tyson Fury just can't take this seriously enough.
Right.
In the back of his mind, it's like, I did this twice and I don't really want to do this again. He doesn't have much respect, I think, for Wilder.
He does not.
He shamed him in the press conference the other day. Called him mentally weak and fragile and excuse maker.
So you're going to make him go quit.
Yeah, all that. And yet, Deontay has gotten him once before. It was in the final round of the first bout. But he needs to catch him hard, flush one time and sting him and hurt him and get him a little bit on his heels so it levels the playing field a little bit so that Deontay can kind of ease into the fight with some comfort zone where he regains some confidence against him.
I agree with you, Skip, because the last fight, Tyson Fury didn't fear him and he walked him down. Most people don't walk towards Deontay Wilder because he has that kind of dynamite in his hand. Okay. So you're going to have to put some fear, like, oh. But he said, Skip, I'm hitting everything. I'm hitting shoulders, I'm hitting body, I'm hitting midsection, I'm hitting everything. But he has to throw. He can't just walk around, just follow Fury around, trying to land that one shot, because Fury is not going to let. Fury is much too skilled, much too smart of a fighter to just let you load up to land that one shot.
Okay, so what did Fury say the other day? I'm going to knock him the F out.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I think he's going to try to get this over early because he's just tired of it. He wants it to go away.
Well, he might be trying to get over, Skip, because he's tired. Because that size, you don't want to go far.
I agree, because he'll know I really don't have the stamina I had before.
Right.
So I need to just get this thing over with, which might make him susceptible to catching the one shot.
Yes.
And listen, they always say about Deontay Wilder, he is the hardest puncher in boxing history, and it's kind of hard to quantify that because, man, there were some greats I used to watch.
Big George,
Tyson,
especially Jack Johnson. I mean,
listen, Ali, young Ali.
Yes.
Lightning power. I don't know,
but see, that's what it was. Ali was more speed. I mean,
but I mean, the speed equated to power.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But my point is, I'll give him this hardest puncher ever.
Right.
Well, he's got to catch him once. And then if this thing can start to go on and on toward, I'm going to go to the 9th round.
Right.
I believe that Wilder can get him again in the 9th and knock him down and completely out. And so I think he's going to have to win by KO.
Oh, there's no question. That's the only way he can win.
In the 9th round.
Right.
So that's what I got it. Sting him in the 2nd round, rock him and drop him in the 9th round.
And the thing is about Wilder's power, it doesn't dissipate. Because remember, Skip, he floored him in the 12th. Yes. To have still that kind of punching power in the later rounds after you've been fighting that long. So it lets you know he can end the fight at any given time, even in the later rounds. Yeah, most people have power in the early rounds, but as the fight starts to go, as you start to get tired, can you still generate that kind of punching power? Deontay Wilder can, but Skip, he's going to have to do better than what he did the first time. He can't just look to land that one shot. Skip, he wasn't throwing any jabs. He wasn't doing anything. He was just looking to load up, try to catch it with that one shot, and Fear's like, I'm not, bruh. I see that thing coming from yesterday.
Seriously?
I'm not finna let you hit me with that.
Okay. So I'm not trying to sell the fight, but I will definitely watch the fight because I think Deontay Wilder has a great shot.
Yeah, you got, I mean, a fight like this, Skip, it's still a big fight. No matter what you think of Fury, no matter what you think of Wilder, it is still a ginormous fight. And
it got a lot bigger when I heard 20 more pounds.
Right.
That's when it got real big to me.
But now, Skip, this is a more compelling fight.
Yep.
Was Anthony Joshua lost?
Yep, I agree. Here we go.
It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to watch it in person in Vegas tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Well, damn, how you get to go, Alex, and we don't get to go? I mean, what's really going on here, Fox?
Thank you for watching. Well, if you enjoyed that clip, make sure you click somewhere around here and subscribe. From fight highlights to exclusive interviews, we have got everything you need as a boxing fan right here on PBC on Fox.